What's up guys, Kool-Aid here, and today we're going to talk about some basics of repairing that might help keep you alive while repairing, might help maximize the effectiveness of your repairs, but mainly we just want to keep you alive. So the first thing we're going to do is always have your repair tool out and ready to repair. I always keep this equipped when I get in and out of vehicles. That way I don't have to even think about switching to it once I jump out. Now some people might not like this. They might want to have a weapon equipped just in case they have to jump out and shoot an infantry quick. Well, chances are you're going to be using your repair tool way more than you're going to be using your weapon. And if you do have to jump out to use your weapon, chances are it's going to take you a split second to actually find them on your screen and center them anyway, so you can pull your weapon out while actually doing that. Now, the easiest thing or the most important thing to do when repairing if you're in a tank fight is to have a safe spot picked out. As you can see in this video, I go numerous times back to this same rock because I know, I'm 90% sure it's a safe spot. Now if somebody sneaks around me, flanks me, props to them, then I guess they win. But for the most part, we know that this is a safe spot, and I really don't have nothing to worry about when jumping out and repairing here. Also, remember that you do get out on the left-hand side of your vehicle unless it is blocked. So you always get out on the left-hand side. Keep that in mind. That will come in handy if you actually know that and remember that. It's pretty easy. If that side is blocked, you will jump out on the right-hand side. If that's blocked also, it will say all exits are blocked, and then you're kind of screwed. But that doesn't happen very often, although I have seen it. Now, sometimes you don't have that perfect cover, so you have to kind of take what the battle gives you, and each battle will dictate how good of cover you can actually use, where you're at in the battlefield, what you're facing. It's all going to be different, and you have to improvise a lot. Now in this video you're going to see me use this small little snowbank. This will shield me from the enemy tank's field of view. This will get the job done, and as long as air doesn't come along, this is pretty much going to do the trick, especially knowing that I have my forces behind me. My base is pretty much right behind me. This is almost just as good as cover as the one that I showed you in the previous video. Now in this video I way overextend going further than I should, trying to take out these Sunders, and I have to use this hill as a makeshift cover. A couple things to note in this video. Once I start getting hit by this ESF, you really have no choice a lot of the times other than to jump back in your vehicle and try, and hopefully your vehicle will survive it. I got lucky in this case. I was already at half health when it started hitting me, but I had no other choice. I was going to die if I did not get back in and stop taking hits as infantry. One other thing you're going to know, when I get out to repair in this video, and I'll show a couple more examples of it, when you get out to repair, use your tank as cover. This is big. You always want to put your tank in between you and your enemy forces. That way if they roll over the hill, they're not going to get easy shots on you. They're going to hit your tank, which is what you want them to hit, as opposed to hitting you in the face. That's always going to be the better outcome. So again, here you're going to see me move to the back of my tank when repairing. One other thing to do, or a couple other things to do, is always try to stay mobile when you're repairing, especially if you feel like there's any snipers or any infantry around. You don't want to become sniper bait while repairing your tank. I know that's one of my favorite things to do when I'm sniping, is actually take out people who get out to repair. So you want to stay mobile. Another thing I do sometimes is crouch. That will put you even less of a target behind your tank, and make sure even people in front of your tank can't hit you at all, maybe take a little less splash damage. I'm not sure how much that actually helps against that, but it doesn't hurt to do it, that's for sure. Now in repairing other people's tanks, you can pretty much use these same rules, with one major exception. Just don't stand behind their tank for obvious reasons. Unless you're in direct communication with them and they know you're there, just don't stand behind their tank. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to repairing tanks is if you do get caught in the open field against a Liberator or an ESF, there is one thing you can do. Against a Liberator, you're probably just going to want to bail. You're going to run away as fast as possible and hope that they're really high up in the sky and they're going to have a hard time leading you. But for the most part, don't ever get out and repair against a Liberator. It's not going to work. You're just going to die. Against an ESF, however, you can actually get out and repair in between rocket barrages, and you can actually cause I wouldn't say bad pilots, but mediocre to bad pilots to run out of rockets and basically have to leave you alone because there's nothing else they can do. Now, a good pilot more than likely is going to take you out. It's just not a fair fight, a tank against ESF one-on-one, unless you're running some kind of anti-air. So, that's just one little technique you can try and use while trying to find cover, obviously. So the last thing I want to talk about is repairing maxes. We're going to skip air because really, if you land in a bad spot with an air vehicle, you're going to die. If you land in a good spot, you're probably good to go. There really isn't a whole lot to it. So I want to talk about maxes, more specifically biolab pushes, because that's where you're going to be doing your majority of repairing on maxes and where they're going to be most useful. The main thing to remember is to stay behind them and use them as cover. If you're pushing up somewhere, don't overextend. If you get into an area where there's way more enemies than you and your max, let the max push up ahead. He can always sprint back to you when he needs repairs. You can't absorb nearly as much as the max, obviously, and you don't have that ability to sprint away like the max does. So that's the main thing to remember. It's pretty simple, and most of the stuff is pretty simple, but if you're like me, you do get lazy from time to time. So think of this as maybe just a reminder video at the very least. One other thing to remember about repairing maxes and biolabs is that friendly units that jump in front of your repair gun will cut off the repair. It's very annoying. I wish they would actually do something about it, but keep that in mind. It seems like your repair gun keeps shutting off, it is friendly units if they do jump in front of there. Last thing I want to talk about is don't forget to repair SCUs and generators, that sort of thing. That's very big. That can help your team out a lot. And as far as overheating the repair gun, in a lot of circumstances, it really doesn't matter. I mean, in some, it's actually better to overheat it. It's just very situational. I'm not going to go into it too much because there is really not that much of a difference, and I'm surprised there isn't more of a difference. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much all I have. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I'll talk to y'all later.